All right. So again, we're going over the example that I put out on GitHub. And if you decide you want to do, go do that, of course, because we talked about this earlier, we have talked about this, and that is you've got a different data source than I have. All right. So you are going to have to go in there and make a change to that, especially, I don't know why, but it's kind of stuck right here. You're going to have to change that. All right. So what's this stuff? Well, what I want is I want a way as I'm putting information in or taking information out or changing existing information, I want a way to be able to refer to any field that is in, uh, in any record field that is in the customer table. The only field I really didn't care about was the customer ID. And you'll notice I did not make a field for that because, again, since we used auto increment, the customer ID is already set up for us. All right. So first name, last name, all that stuff should make sense. This is that button to go back. Again, that should make sense. All right. Now, when you think about it, what I would like to do right here is I'd like to be able to take that validate first name, validate last name, validate address, validate city, validate state, validate zip, validate area code, and validate phone. And I'm going to try to do this later, but I'd like to take those routines and move them from here and put them in that helper class. Why? Because I need those particular, I need I need those particular fields, both, or those methods, both when I'm inserting data and when I'm updating data. As of right now, I've got them in both methods. But again, as I just mentioned to you, if I could take that out, think about this. I got to keep all this stuff in there, but starting at the bottom here with validate the first name. So that's line 123, and it goes all the way down to 273. So in other words, that's 150 lines I could remove and ideally put into another routine. And then I'd be able to use it from both, call it from both the insert and call it from the update. I don't need to verify anything for the delete. Now I'm asking you both a question. Is what I just said, does it make sense?
Yes.
All right. But the thing is, I didn't try to do that. It may or may not seem like it, but it took a lot of work to get this to work. I want to show you some of the stuff that I did. I put in my own hacks, and I did some stuff. I did stuff yesterday that I've never done before, but it was kind of, for lack of better words, it was kind of fun. All right. So once you've done everything, then you want to write the record out to the database. Okay. We had problems with this yesterday. The queries now work, and I want to show them to you. All right. So I don't need this. This just said that I got to that routine, so I can comment that line out. It's no big thing. All right. So set up my connection string, open the database connection, and then notice, as it says right there, this will hold the string. So this is the actual command. Insert into customers, all 8 of those fields. Again, I do not put in the ID field because it's auto-generated. But customer first name, last name, address, city, state, zip, area code, and phone number. And then they've got this weird kind of syntax that you have to use for this. You have to put everything that you want to escape, basically. You have to start it with a single quote, then put in a double quote. Can you see that right here where I'm putting the mouse over it?
Yes.
And then when you end it, you've got to end it with just the opposite, a double quote and a single quote. All right? Kind of like if you have if you have, let's say you have an H1 tag and you put a bold tag inside of it, you should have H1, then the bold tag inside of it. Then you should end it with the ending bold tag, then the ending H1 tag. It's the same kind of idea. All right. So this is telling us basically that we want to grab everything that we just put into right here. This says we want to grab everything that we just put into the form, and we want to throw it into the database. All right. And then when we get done, basically this is saying come in here and run the command. Then we've got this adapter, and the adapter, for lack of better words, the adapter is what allows the database and the GUI, or the graphical user interface, to communicate with one another. What you'll notice if you look right here is this says data adapter.insert command right there. This one says insert command. This basically is telling it to run it on that. All right. And this says, okay, you're done. You got everything set up. So actually execute it now. And again, every single time that you're not doing a select, when you execute it, you're executing it as non-query. All right. Why? Because you're not doing a select. A select would not be used. You may or may not have noticed that, but when you'll see later when we do a select, there is nothing like that in there. All right. If we've gotten down this far, we just tell the user that the record's been successfully inserted. We get rid of the resources that we're using to set up all that command stuff, because it literally is taking up memory. We close our database connection, and then we call clear customer form. That's another routine that's it right here. I would like to take that routine and put it into the helper file, because as you can see in here, what that's doing is it's just grabbing all of the text boxes, and these text boxes have the same name in all three of our forms, and we have these same fields here in all three forms. All right. So we come in here, we validate everything, cool, everything's fine. We do all this good stuff in here, and we clear the form. So again, did you say now when I run this, you cannot see my white form now? Is that true?
No, we still see code.
Okay. But the idea is you run this now, you click the button on the upper right that says show customer main form. All right. You click the insert customer, it brings up your green form. You can put your stuff in there. It should be validated. You click the insert button. All right. And then as long as there's no problem, it should say that your record's been inserted. The form will clear and you'll be right back there. So just in case you want to enter another form, you're able to do so. Now I'm asking you both. Does what's going on in here make sense to you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What I'm going to do next right now is I'm going to stop this run, and I'm going to go and you'll have to tell me if you can't see it. But instead of going to the insert customer, I want to go to the delete customer. Then we'll come back. All right. Then we'll come back and we will look at the update. Now I'm asking you a question. I've got my mouse and I'm grabbing a bunch of code and making it blue. Do you see that on your screen?
Yes.
All right. So we have the delete up right now. Okay. Now I want to tell you about a dumb thing I did, because it was really dumb. When I ran this the first time, instead of showing me inside, you may or may not remember, but at the top of the delete form, in fact, I can show it to you and then I'll come right back. You should see the red delete form right now on your screen. And at the top is the customer name. I set it up so that when you run the program and you click this, it puts in there the customer's last name, a comma, and the customer's first name. Does that make sense to you? And it's grabbing that information right from the database itself. All right. Well, it worked fantastically when I did the update. You know, it gave me my list of 27 customers. All right. It let me go in, and when I did the update, I added a new record first. I added Fred Flintstone. Why? Because just, I don't know, earlier I was turning the channels on the TV and I saw the Flintstones were on, which I hadn't seen for years. So I put him in there. And I changed his name to Frederick, and I did a few other things. Boom. They all worked. It was great. All right. Then I went and took the same code to fill up this customer name. I took the same exact code that I had from the update and I put it into the delete. I mean, it should make sense because in both cases, I want to be able to click here and get all my records. All right. The problem is when I did that and I ran the program and I clicked right here, instead of showing me all the records, it showed me Frederick Flintstone 27 times. So, I mean, I'm not that stupid. I knew that something was wrong, but I didn't know what was wrong. And what I did, which I shouldn't have done, is I said, all right, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to grab one of these records. Any Frederick Flintstone will do. I grabbed it, put it out there, told it to delete it. And guess what? It deleted all of my customers. All right. So now I had no customers in there. That's why when I run mine right now, I'm not, it's not, it doesn't show any customers as being in there. I've got to put them back in there again. The reason I am telling you that is if you go in and you run my copy, for example, all right, and if you're using either the update or the delete, and if you click the down arrow right here, this is a combo box. If you click the down arrow on the customer delete form or on the customer update form, if it gives you just the same name, all right, then just get out of that form. Something is screwed up. And if I can figure out what it is, you know, I might even throw another copy of this out there. All right, so that said, I want to go back and I want to go over the code with you. All right, so I'm going to do a new share here so I can go back to my code window. Okay, so you see my code window and with some of it in blue now, correct?
Yes.
All right. So again, you're noticing a pattern here, at least hopefully. We're setting up our connection string. I'm setting up global variables. So these variables are representing the 8 different things. These right here, those are the 8 different things that I have on a customer form. So for instance, if you were going to do the categories form, you'd only have one thing because all that's in there is a category description. If you were doing the products form, I don't remember, I think products has 4 or 5 things. If you were doing the orders form, etc., I think you get where I'm going to in here. All right. And this right here, this thing that says string full name, that thing right there. All right. That is going to be what actually goes into the combo box. And that's the last name followed by a comma, followed by the first name. So that's the full name. All right. So normally I don't put anything in here. This is the constructor. Remember, the name of the form is form delete customer. So this is the constructor for that form. This is the method that gets called automatically when basically when this runs. Okay. And all you've ever seen in here before has been initialize component. Well, I added my own method in here called fill combo box. And the idea with that combo box is it should fill up in there. It should fill up and put in all of my customers, last name, comma, first name. And that's what this right here is designed to do. So again, I create my connection. Probably should have opened my connection first. always a good idea. All right, so I open my connection. I do a query here, select star from customers. So SQL, all right, SQL, if I run this now, it's going to hold that information. Then I tell it, okay, I'm going to run this information, but I think you'd all agree that in an ideal world, at least, we'd have more than one customer. Since we have more than one customer, we use a data reader. And basically, this is going to come in here, and this that you see right there, that should fill up the combo box, and it should fill it up with the 27 or whatever number there is of customers that we have. So we're telling it to execute the data reader, and as long as there's data, go out and for the current record, grab the last name, put in a comma, and grab the first name. Now, when I first did this, I wanted it to look nicer, so I had comma space. I had to get rid of that, and I'm going to explain that to you in just a minute. So this is going to come in, and this is going to fill up that combo box with the last name, comma, first name. If there's a problem doing it, and there was originally, because I had that space there, again, I'm going to go through that in just a minute. Okay. Notice I'm making these catches real simple. All I'm saying is give me a regular message box and just show me the message. Also, show me the routine in which I had the problem. So if I had an error, that error was in method fill combo box. All right. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right. And then close the connection. All right. This is our back button, so I don't think there's anything big in here. We've talked about that before. This is the one that was kind of giving me fits. I did stuff in here I didn't even know you could do. All right. What do I mean? Well, again, I'm going to stop my share, and I'm going to show you the other share. And I'm going to change this. So hold on. That's not what I want. Let's see. There we go. All right. So let me stop my share and start it again. Okay. I wanted to be able to, do you see the red customer delete form on screen right now?
Yes.
Okay. I wanted to be able to both use this like one field. So Scott, comma, Jeff. Plus, I wanted to be able to grab the individual components of that. Why? Because if I'm going to delete, what I want to tell the system is I want to delete where the last name is Scott and the first name is Jeff. All right. And plus, when I did that, I came in here and I filled up the actual information. Now, my guess is the reason that I had that problem and the reason that it removed everything is, remember, if everything in there was Frederick and Flintstone, I was telling it to remove every occurrence of Frederick Flintstone. And for some reason, instead of showing me my 27 customers, it replaced all their names with the customer that I added, Fred Flintstone. All right. Again, I'm not even sure if what I'm telling you makes sense, but what I want to get across here is after I put that in, last name, comma, first name, as far as the system was concerned, in this combo box right there, all right, that was one field. But what I wanted to be able to do was to treat, whoops, that's not it. I wanted to be able to come in and treat it as though it was two fields. Where is it? Come on, where are you? Doggone it. All right, give me a second here. We'll find it. That's what I want. All right, hopefully you see my code again.
Yes.
All right, so this is what I did. I told the system, I didn't even know you could do this, so I was Googling a lot yesterday. I told it to grab everything that was in that combo box at the time. So for example, Scott, comma, Jeff. And I said, take that and convert all of that in there into just a single string. All right. So it's a string, Scott, comma, Jeff. Then I said, I want you to split it into a string array. So now there's going to be two elements in there. Element 0 is going to be Scott. Element 1 is going to be Jeff. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So after I did that, I said, okay, L name is the first part. That's the part before the comma. And F name is the part after the comma. All right, so I was able to use those. Why did I care? Because I wanted to tell the system to select this where the last name was equal to this and the first name was equal to this. All right. So in other words, I was saying I wanted you to fill up the rest of that form where the last name was equal to Scott and the first name was equal to Jeff. All right. So we come in here and again I probably should have made this up, put that up here. All right. So there's the connection. There it is. We're going to run it. This tells it basically that what we wanted to do in here is we wanted to go out to the database and we wanted to grab all the fields. I didn't need the ID field. I just wanted to see if I could grab it. All right. So the idea is go out to the database, and for this customer, find their first name, stick it into that variable first name. Find their last name, stick it into the variable last name, etc. I'm not going to run through all 8 of those with you. Notice that with the area code, we had to convert it to an integer. And also notice that on all of these, we use the toString. That's just the recommended way of doing it, because technically what goes into the database is kind of incompatible with what we're working on outside of the database. And then after I've done that and I pulled all that stuff into these individual fields, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 fields, then I fill up the associated text boxes with what I just put in here. All right. If there's a problem, I say, okay, it was in this routine, combo selected, index changed. There it is. It was in the combo box, selected, index changed. So just let me know there was a problem. All right. And then close the connection. All right. If we get down to that point, now when we click the delete button, all we have to do is try to remove the record from the database. That's it. All right. And you come in here, very similar stuff to what we did before. Here it is. All right. Come in here, make your new connection. I did ask the user, are you sure you want to delete the record for, Jeff Scott from the database? And notice it says, if we chose no, we didn't want to do it, we just clear the customer form and we return. So we've said, no, maybe we picked the wrong record or whatever. I did clear the form. I didn't have to do that, but I cleared the form. All right. Then this is the delete. All right. We make this smaller. I know that's pretty small, but hopefully you can see it. Delete from customers where the first name is, again, this is what I put in there for the first name in that drop-down list, and that's what's in there for the last name for the drop-down list. All right. So again, come through there, create your command, create your adapter, and do your deletes. Again, it's another execute non-query. Let the user know, because it's always nice, that the record was successfully deleted. Get rid of your resources. Clear your customer form in case they want to delete another record. And if there was any kind of problem, all right, let the user know. All right. And finally, the last thing that's in here is clear customer form. All right. Now I'm down to, I've got 8 minutes left on this particular one. So what I want to do quickly, and I'm going to start it, but I don't think I'll have time to finish, and that is I want form update customer. Okay. And I'm going to put in the code here. Do you see my code right now that I'm highlighting in blue that says form update customer?
Yes.
All right. Again, sounds like a broken record, but there's your connection. There's your fields, same stuff you saw before. There's your fill combo box that you saw before. And there it is right here. Exactly the same as what I explained to you before. I mean, the code is literally the same. That's why I'd like to be able to use it for both of the routines. All right. And then we come in here for the selected change. Guess what? This is the same code. Again, I should move that connection up. All right. But select star where the first name or last name is the last name and the first name is the first. Same stuff. All right. Copying the stuff in here just like we did before. That's the same. So what's new? Well, now we don't want to delete the record. We want to update the record. All right. Since we want to update, that means that probably we've made changes. So we've got to run through this whole rigmarole again of validating the first name, validating the last name, validating the city, validating the state, the zip, the area code, and the phone number. All right. If everything worked, then we want to write the record to the database. I probably could have just said update record to database, but hopefully you get the idea. All right. These were all the validate routines, exactly the same as what we went over yesterday. All right. And this is the write record to database. This command is different. It's an update. All right. So we go through, do the same exact stuff. This time, though, it's an update we want to do. And we tell the user that the record has been successfully inserted. Otherwise, if there's an error, we let them know that. Here's our clear customer form. All right. Now, I went through that quickly. Okay. And it's telling me I got less than 5 minutes left. So what we're going to do is I'm going to generate a new URL. It'll take me about 5 minutes to get everything set up. And when we come back, all right, I want to show you one more example of doing it again. All right. And then I want you to, and I'll talk about what I want you to do next. All right. So feel free to drop off. I've got that it's 8:40. Let's come back, just to make sure I got enough time. Let's come back at 8:50. So come back in 10 minutes, please. Thanks.